Oh, you look like you're kind of on a Hawaiian vacation, kind of.
Dude, I'm always on a Hawaiian vacation.
Jeez. One day, Kevin Petersen, I will be on a Hawaiian vacation. That is one place I have not been, and
Really?
I need to. No, I'm
Really?
not. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Okay, we'll go together.
The one time I was about to, I got psyched out by the plane ride. So, and I'm kicking myself ever since.
You mean because of how long it would have been?
Yeah, I struggle with like 2.5 hour plane rides, but you know what? I'm gonna commit to a long period, not like a short vacation, but spend some time out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, well, there's great people there too. I'll hook you up with some really wonderful people to hang out with, and some great sobriety, just amazing people out there. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
I have no excuse anymore. But anyway, so if you want any Hawaii tips, go over to Kevin W. Petersen on Instagram. He'll also give you a bunch of family tidbits too. He'll be a little light on Hawaii topics, but mainly family coaching. ChronicHope.us got all kinds of free resources. There's a Chronic Hope Facebook page if you're a family member. Just a platform where we just talk frankly and have other families support you. Just an amazing resource. Kevin Petersen's all over the internet. If you open up your phone, you'll see Kevin, I'm sure, doing fantastic stuff.
Oh my God, enough. Let's just get to the question.
Well, this is part of my just lead in. So I'm just letting you to share. No one's listening to me anyway. Don't worry about it. But
I am. I'm always listening to you.
Well, this is good to know. But everything's good in Kevin's world?
Yeah, things are good here. I actually spent a Monday night. I went, my sister and her husband and her oldest were in Savannah, 2 hours north of us. So we bounced up to Savannah, spent the night, had a lot of time with them. Gosh, it was so much fun. We had such a great time. And I got to tell you, that's one of the great parts about recovery is being back in the family and them actually wanting to spend time with us, you know. Now, let's be clear. They love my wife. I'm not stupid where I place in this category, you know. I'm just the guy who happens to be, you know, transporting the wife to her besties. So, but we had a lot of fun. We had a really good time and came back and, you know, here we are.
I'm going to be out your way next week. I'm going to go see St. Augustine Recovery.
Well, when are you going to be here?
I believe I'm coming in Tuesday, leaving Friday, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's 20 minutes away.
It is?
Yeah. Yeah, let me know.
I didn't know these. So I will be in 20 minutes away from you. I know I'm flying into Jacksonville. That I do know, but
what's do you know where you're staying and all that stuff?
I don't.
Okay, well, you let me know.
I will. Okay. These are all good things.
Yeah, totally. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
What do you got?
All right, let's get into the questions. Enough about me and my travels.
No, there's never enough about you.
That is true. This is true. I feel as if my son sees going to treatment as a consequence rather than an opportunity to change his life. Is this something you two deal with when it comes to people seeking help? Kind of the treatment is a consequence and not an opportunity is kind of how it's put.
And that's a great question. And so here's the thing. And this is one of those moments where I'm going to spin the question around back onto the family. Who cares what he thinks? This is not a, you know, so we got to stay out of his head. You're sending him to treatment because if you don't, he's going to die. Let me tell you something. Nobody goes to treatment is like, woo, cool. I get to go to treatment. You know, so I don't care if they go kicking and screaming. I don't care if they go with their tail between their legs. I don't care. What I care about is them going and then, you know, doing their thing there. And while your son is in treatment, this is an opportunity for you to dig into you. The fact that you're worked up about how he feels about treatment tells me we have work to do. You know, we have work to do. And you know, because that's his business. How he behaves, whether or not he accepts it, whether or not he plugs in, totally up to him. Set the appropriate boundaries, make boundaries with him, make it clear. If you don't dig in, there ain't going to be no financial, you know, you're no phone, no internet, no car, no social life. No. This is your opportunity. This is your job. So here's the boundary. Dig in. If you don't, then cool. That'll be on you. But at the same time, dig into yourself. Let me be clear with you. Alcoholics and addicts, nothing scares them more than their parents or their family getting into recovery, because it means the game's changed. Right now, it's all about your son. Oh my God, he's got a problem and we're throwing him into treatment. We're fine. Everything's cool. We're just going to stay over here. If you guys change, he has to change. He has to, in order to continue to be part of the family. It's just how it works. It's how it worked for me. It's how it worked for Jay. And that's exactly what you guys need to do. So let's not worry about your son. Let's worry about you. Let's dig into you. Read my books. Read Codependent No More. You know, contact me. We can do some work. You know, get to my website. I just made some improvements to the website. Put some really neat stuff there. You know, let's go. But this is your chance to change things for you and not worry about him.
Man, I think this is going to be a really good show. And I'm just telling you, it's got that feeling of
feeling it.
I can relate to but Kevin's exactly right. You know, let him, he'll soon realize that it is changing his life and not a consequence, but not when you first walk through the front door. Our daughter is 41, has been in and out of treatment, sober living, therapy, etc. Through it all, she's continued to rely on herself to change, very self-reliant. Seems she's not able to overcome it. So basically she's wanting input, advice, whatever, when it comes to just, and we know well that him or her, I'll do this, you know, the refusal. I can do this all on my own. I'm not going to ask for help. I can change on my own. It's welcome to the society. Mom, dad's worried about self-reliance. She's going through all these treatments, sober livings, staying sober, goes to the real world, and then relies on self. Doesn't ask for help.
Sure. Got it. So some things we can control and some things we can't. Whether or not your daughter buys in, this is like the same people as before. You know, I mean, it's the same. It's just, so there's three categories, right? There's before treatment, during treatment, and after treatment. That last one was during treatment and all kind of a little bit before treatment. This one's after treatment. And the answer is the same. Dig into your own stuff, stay out of her stuff, work on why it is you're monitoring her behavior so much. And just set strong, clear boundaries with love and empathy. Let's be clear. I'm not telling you to smack her around, slam the door on her face. None of that crap. That's all that non-tough love crap doesn't work. It just doesn't work. What we're going to do is say, you know what? I love you, but here's the deal. You got to get engaged. You got to go to therapy. You got to go to 12-step meetings. You got to buy in because if you don't, we're going to keep some boundaries with you because we just don't trust the way you behave. And, you know, look, you can go to church, you can go to therapy, you can go to CrossFit, you can go to yoga. I don't care what you do or how you do it. But two things have to happen. You got to stay completely abstinent from drugs and alcohol, and your behavior has to change. You achieve those two things, and everything's cool. Everything's groovy. But if those two things aren't happening, then we're going to continue to implement the boundaries where we're like, I'm sorry, your behavior is not acceptable. I'm sorry, you're drinking and using drugs. We don't want that around us. That's our boundary. We love you. You're our daughter. We think you're great. But until these things change, our answer is a very loving and kind no. No, and that's the answer. That's the straight up answer.
Accountability. I mean, go to whatever groups, if it's a church home group or a fellowship or whatever. I mean, for me, it's find that accountability. You can't be accountable to yourself because we are not really good with an impeccable word to ourselves. We break our commitments pretty quick. And so if it was up to me, I would not be here talking about sobriety because I needed people to hold me accountable. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, to be totally blunt, it's the only thing that works, you know.
can't do it by yourself. Cannot do it by
No.
yourself. So
Surrounding yourself with people that are fighting the same battle. And by the way, we're not just talking about your daughter.
I knew that was coming too.
I
So
know,
I'm
right?
able.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see Kevin Peterson's steps ahead, which is scary and exciting at the same time. So
you're
you
thinking
know,
about
I'm, I'm
all
junior family whisperer, I guess. So,
right.
so
That's scary.
this is along the same. These are all kind of same lines. So you're going to be worked up all 4 questions.
This is a
You-
great question. I really like this question.
You two seem as if you're embracing being in recovery and don't pay attention to the stigma society has around drugs and alcohol abuse. When did that change for you? I'm hoping to show this to my son.
Oh, great question. Great question. Hey, we got comments. And we'll go. We're gonna go to Kathy Frazier Pearson's comments in just a second. Hey, Kathy, and if you're watching, would you mind telling us a little bit more information, a little bit more detail? What do you mean someone totally shuts you out? And then we'll get to that. I promise. So, can you put the question back up? Oh, stigma.
Which one of the Kathy or the
original?
No, the stigma. When did that change for you when you embraced this kind of a stigma and kind of was shouting out loud that we are recovered and free?
Okay, so for me, I'll tell you what. I got sober in May of 1991, and I have to be honest with you. I didn't worry about any stigma. I didn't worry about. I mean, you know, the bridges were burning behind me, and there was no. You know, it's not like I was like had a lot of options. You know, I was like, shit, I need help, man. What am I gonna do? And you know, I walked into my first AA meeting, and they were like, "Hi, you know, we love you. You can be here." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." You know, and they were talking about stuff and being honest and loving and kind, and I was like, so I was like, cool, you know, awesome. I'm in, and I never really worried about that, and I think that's, to be totally blunt with you, I think this whole stigma thing tends to be the luxury of people that are not fighting for recovery. And I don't mean that negatively. I totally get where you're coming from. I think the stigma tends to be more of a family thing. Like, how do we tell people about our kid? How do I tell people about my husband? Because people in recovery don't feel that stigma. They really don't. They feel like, I'm freaking lucky to be alive. You know, lucky to be alive. Thank God. And then, I mean, I've definitely, so here's what I would tell you is I've had people be really dismissive and rude to me about being in 12-step recovery, or, you know, poo-poo me, or like, oh, yeah, whatever. And, you know, you're just addicted to something else. And I was like, and my favorite one is when they tell someone's like, oh yeah, you know, I went to AA, and then, you know, there was brainwashing, and I'm like, well, it turned out my brain needed a good washing, you know, and because I was crazy. And, you know, that's one of my favorites. And so for me, that's what it was like. I've never felt a stigma. I've never felt like I had a scarlet letter on me. I've never felt like I had, you know, sort of like a mark on me. Quite the opposite. I've always found this, to be totally blunt with you, and especially in work situations, they think I'm more reliable. You know, I mean, I worked for a place for a while where we would go on these business trips, and my boss was always like, you know, everybody else's expense report, I got to double check it because I really don't trust them when it comes to drinking and stuff. It's like, meh, you know, hotel, car, food, boom, you know, I got no issues with it. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. He's like, wow, I wish I had more like you, you know? So, so now I do want to say, I do understand what you're talking about. My experience is that has been more of a concern for the family than for the person in recovery. And I think what I would tell you is, this is the most important thing I can say. Every person you know is engaged in this process one way or another, whether they realize it or not. So your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, they all have somebody in their lives that's fighting this battle. And so the sooner you guys start talking about it openly, you're going to be shocked. I mean, At the gym. I was at the gym today, and this person was like, "Hey, I have a question," or "Hey, oh yeah, no, I have experience with that," or I can't go anywhere. Oh, look at my pal Andrea. She's known me since I was 18. She knew me in the bad times. um, but that's the thing, is that I think it really depends upon the individual mindset of the person. Um, I don't see it as a stigma. I don't think I ever saw it as a stigma. I never thought it was a black mark, because I worked the steps and I got through the shame and I started to see the other side of it. So maybe let's say the first couple of years. Long answer, long answer, long answer. How about you?
No, I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think the biggest time was when my family accepted and told others. I mean, there's some stigma around it. I mean, I still remember getting that first phone call from the country club family saying, "Hey, is this Jay?" I'm like, "Yeah, your dad told me my son is struggling with drugs and alcohol." And I'm just like almost crying because like my
Yeah,
dad mentioning something to his country club buddies. But for me, it is like I don't push anything on anyone. I mean, anonymity is the thing, but I mean, I'm wide open. Always have. I thank my family for kind of supporting me on that, and they love it. But I agree with what you're saying, because for me, once I had to get over the fact that I was a true alcoholic and a drug addict and so forth like that. And that name kind of stings. But once I got into recovery, it really doesn't. I mean, I'll say J alcoholic, in a business meeting and be all right with it. It's just a natural thing. It's just a word. And if people want to be like, oh, like you're an alcoholic, I mean, yeah, oh well, So it is more of a family thing. But for me, I think a connection with that is when my family started being open, and
right.
they kind of smashed the stigma, and they started talking to their country club and their church and everybody. And I made the family Christmas newsletter that Jay's like, celebrating 12, 13, 14, coming up on 15 years sober. And I'm like, man, like, who is this family? And that's what Kevin always says. I would love to point out when Kevin's wrong, but my family has done their own, work. I think they could all do more. We'll leave that there, but they've done some incredible work. So,
Yeah. No, I'm with you entirely, and that's what makes the difference. Hey, by the way, my darling Andrea says, "Can I repeat?" And we're gonna answer Kathy's question. She
yeah,
elaborated.
yeah.
Can you repeat your quote? Yeah, I know which quote you're asking about, and I swear to God, I'm going to put this. It's going to get on the Instagram. I got a new social media person, and she's having a ball. By the way, she's going to start soliciting questions. But the quote you're looking for, Andrea, is happy families come from happy individuals. Happy individuals work on their shit. Everybody has shit on the front, and on the back, we're going to put, of course, we're going to talk about your childhood, because what else is there?
With your face, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, probably Bert's face. I think
So
Bert.
what do you do when you
Yeah.
shut it out, and then it goes long story, very angry person, been there for them their whole life, they need help.
So here's the thing, Kathy, and I get it. I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to read Codependent No More. I want you to read my book, Chronic Hope, Families and Addiction. Hard to talk rationally to an irrational. No, you're absolutely right. So here's the thing I want you to understand. You can tell them, I love you, and I'm not willing to do this anymore. But if you want help, I'll help you. But I'm not going to keep participating in the hurricane and the crazy lifestyle. You have to set the boundary for yourself, for your own sanity, and take care of you. And that's really what it comes down to. And I get what you're saying, is that, oh my God, this person's really struggling and their life is falling apart. I can tell you, I have so many friends that I've known forever and ever and they know I'm sober. There's no doubt about it. And I've watched their lives just implode. And I'm like, I'm here to help you. What do you need? I will answer your call. I will do anything for you. And they're like, I'm good. Got divorced, got fired, lost my career, eating my savings, but I'm fine. Okay. And they know my story. And I'm like, okay, But, then when I have the people that just want to call and complain and sort of get free therapy or free coaching, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't do that. You need to engage in the process and dig into the process. So Kathy, contact me anytime. I'm happy to give you a reading list of stuff and how to work on yourself and take care of you. Because the most important thing you can do in this situation is change the way you're handling this person. That will have the greatest impact on them, not trying to tell them to change. And I, like you said, hard to talk rationally to an irrational person. It makes perfect sense, but you just defined my first marriage, but that's another story. But it's very frustrating. So I would tell you, stop trying. Stop and take care of yourself. Set some boundaries. Take care of you. Let that person know. If you ever want help, I'm here for you, but that's that. As a matter of fact, here's what you need to do. You need to talk to my friend Andrea that's putting some sweet notes on here, because she watched me through all the good and the bad and the ugly. And she was very clear about her boundaries. And when I cleaned up and sobered up, she was like, right there, I love you. I've got your back. I'm here. And I will never forget her for that. But when things got stupid, she's like, yeah, I'm not going there. I'm sorry. That's no. By the way, we got another lovely comment from a friend of mine, Nikki. He says, great interview, Kevin. Hey, Nikki, we do this every week. It's not just a one-timer. Pop on in anytime. We would love to chit chat with you and answer questions.
Well, what Kevin always says is, what I picked up from Kevin is, stop talking, do your own work. They'll guarantee it will be something they listen to loud and clear. So
yeah, be the change.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing your own work. I mean, it truly is fascinating. I mean, there's nothing more. It's almost like you're screaming and it's talking directly to your heart, is when the family does their own work. Like, you're right in saying, like, that is frustrating when with someone in active addiction. But I would guarantee, when my mom and dad started talking a little different, and I knew that they were getting some kind of advice, they weren't perfect. I could still talk my way out of a lot of things, but I knew trouble was brewing, and it got like, I started putting an end to it. I'll just tell you that. So did this and decided to keep drinking, so I left. He is still.
Yeah, she did a great job, and yeah, I mean, that's, again, like I said, everyone you run into, everyone you talk to is dealing with this on some level of some sort of alcoholism or addiction in their family system on some level, somewhere, somehow, and they're trying to sort it out and figure out what to do next.
You've got, I mean, we've touched on this like through the whole show, but last question, we love our son, but living in a small town, his actions have really affected his family, the burglaries, the in and out of jail, inappropriate behaviors. We have 2 young daughters. Ultimately, what she was saying is she knows the daughters are 5th grade, I think, and 3rd, or whatever it is, hearing about the brother, it's that stigma, it's everything we've kind of talked about.
So, here's the most important thing I would tell you. I know you love your son, and I believe you, but you got to protect the family first. The family has the needs of the many have to come before the needs of the few, to quote, Star Trek or Star Trek. And the bottom line is, you just need to be really clear with them that, hey, you know what, until you clean up your act, our answer is no. And you're very severely impacting us as a family. And, we're happy to help you with treatment. We're happy to help you get better. But if you just want to continue to bounce around in that environment, we're just going to be super clear. The answer is no, and hold him accountable. If he's stealing from you, have him arrested. If he, then I know then he's going to have a record. He's going to have a record anyway. Some people,
he's in and out of jail. I'm sure he's already got that record. So.
Yeah, the record's there. So don't worry about it. I mean, let me tell you that some of my best friends in AA, got sober through going to jail. And I don't mean for the weekend, I mean, going to jail and going to prison. And that's what it took to shake their shit up and be like, oh, this is how the rest of my life is going to be, and I don't like that. Hey, Kathy has a follow-up. I feel sad. Kathy, this is why I'm telling you, I want you to work on your stuff, because I agree. I totally understand. You know what? I don't know. You probably don't know my story, but My mom died in 2014 from long-term prescription drug use, and it was terrible to watch. And I loved my mother, and she was wonderful. But it was miserable, and it was miserable to watch. And I told her, I spoke my piece, and I said, if you want to get help, I'll help you. And her response was, I have prescriptions, I have a therapist, I have a doctor. I don't need your help. You don't know what you're talking about. And so I had to detach. I had to pull back. And son is mad in a relation with his son's mom. Son is mad at me for having a relationship. With the baby mama and a relationship with my grandson. Okay, so Kathy, call me. Just call me, and I'm going to help you with all that stuff. I'll walk you through all that stuff. And the meter's not running.
ChronicHope.us.
Email me, and I will walk you through how to take care of that. I got you. And Andrea, oh, you're so cute. You're so sweet. She's such a wonderful person. So.
Yeah, this is turning into the whole KP hour. I'm here too. Like I'm thinking about calling some of my friends. They're all having fun and not listening to me. KP's got a laundry line of people. But this is what this show is all about. I mean, it's
Kathy, go to ChronicHope.us. And look, Andrea loves you too, and a little pity love, but whatever. But yeah, Kathy, that's what I want you to, or go to my Instagram, Kevin W. Petersen, your choice, and send me a message, and I will get you engaged right away. I promise you that.
He will do it. He does it all the time. And he does it with me all the time. I'll just tell you that, Kathy. So tell him you want the J discount. And so he'll look you up.
Yeah, free. Can't give me a discount free. More than free. Free is as big a discount as I get.
I shouldn't be handing out the J discount. But anyway, well, this has been a fun show.
This has been a good one. It's been fun. It's been on. We've been cooking. Yeah. I had some tacos.
We do this. Your whole fan club showed up, which, you know what? I'll just sit outside in the parking lot just drinking my Diet Coke, I guess. So you guys have fun. But we do this every Wednesday. We may have to find out another time because I will be in St. Augustine. So let me just talk. We'll talk, Kevin, offline. We'll figure something out, I'm sure. But
Yep.
But we do this every Wednesday night, and we love doing it. We're going to continue doing it. And you know what? I'll gladly drink my Diet Coke out in the parking lot and just watch the KP party.
Okay. All right. It's time to go. Look at that. Look at the time. Oh my God. Look at the time.
Well, if you want to hear my story, it started when now. All right. Have a good I'll see you next week.
All right.